Issue 238. After Lupe oddly holds back from saying something uncivil as her last words to Eggman, Eggman gets interrupted by an alarm and the screen shows him Sonic and Amy and Tails. Orbot tells him that they're still hours from being fully refueled and they haven't even begun with repairs yet. He decides to take off early and gets someone to watch Lupe in the meantime. Sonic punches the goon while having a clear blank line in the middle of his text box and a comma at the end of a sentence before it, so that was really unprofessional. Sonic puts Tails in a team with T-Pup and the other Wolf Girl, says that being a leader is fun, and the Cat Queen says that the Grand Chief cell is this way. The Wolf Girl says they'll meet Tails at the top, and Sonic jokes that it seems fighting Grandmaster Cats in Duels of Honor is a new occupational hazard. The Wolf Girl silently tells the Cat Queen to stay quiet as they eavesdrop on Drago bragging to Lupe that he'll get half a continent to himself when she's gone. Lupe tells Drago that he's not going to get what he wants because out of nowhere she somehow figured out that Eggman's going to make her Grandmaster to undermine the Wolfpack Nation the best. I mean, who better to do that than her? Drago is shocked and goes into denial, which is good enough distraction for him to be taken out and told that he made a terrible queen. The Cat Queen takes back her robe from him, but doesn't put it back on because she arbitrarily doesn't think it's the right time for a queen. Tails puts a tracker on Death Egg, saying that now he'll be able to find it anytime. Metal Sally shows up, and Tails spins himself around with his tails to attack her. She acts stunned and shocked that he hit her, and Tails says that he'll do whatever it takes to save her, as the Wolf Girls meet up with him. When there's an announcement about Death Egg launching, Metal Sally says that he has 1 minute to disable her and risk death, loss of his pet, and recapture of the regional rulers. Tails reluctantly decides to leave because he risks losing everything, and Sonic is alerted by the Cat Queen, who says she'll be needed in the jungle, as I wonder why they didn't just use Rotor's device that made it so that Antoine's father, when he was roboticized, couldn't do anything to resist being rescued. Why didn't they just make that kind of device again and save Metal Sally with it? They don't even mention it. You'd think Flynn had read enough of the comic to remember that kind of a device, although I forgot about it by this point, but he was the writer, he should have remembered it more than me. Oh, Razor Claw said K in it. Okay, that's stupid. I'm not gonna spell it like that. Eggman complains that the whole trip was to restock and repair, and he barely has enough resources to invade Nanite City again. Why would he even bother with that when it has a force field to protect it? Eggman says he'll do construction mid-flight, and Metal Sally will pay Elias a visit. But were they just in Furville? The Cat Queen and Lupe show that they're on better terms, and Lupe asks the Wolf Girls if they'd be interested in a secret mission since the fury they unleashed on Drago should be spent on all their enemies. That's pragmatic. In the next story, under the Nanite City, the Owlman compliments Nicole on the new headquarters. Nicole thanks him and says that she didn't do much to it and the base was left over from the Iron Dominions occupation. Then we see Uncle Chuck complaining to the Owl that he's got Nicole violating her exile order and him not only abetting treason, but rebuilding a Metal Sonic to boot, with Shard the Metal Sonic saying that he's doing a great job of it. Chuck looks so unsympathetic here. Since when did he become such a bitter coward? Why is he talking as if him committing treason against the evil Ixis is a bad thing to be ashamed of, and siding with Nicole over the stupid council is a bad thing? Doesn't he remember the good old days when he was committing treason against Eggman as a robot spy? Those were the days. He didn't have any problem with that. What happened to the brave, sweet Uncle Chuck I used to know? Shard says that he's only up and running, figuratively speaking, without legs. And Chuck says he could get those recovered parts from Metal Sonic, Metal Scourge, and Troopers on his own, but once they've joined to this thing's power gen matrix, the self-repair incorporates them faster than he can modify them. Shard is naturally offended at being called a thing, especially right in front of Nicole. You'd think she'd be pretty sensitive to AI being treated like that, but she doesn't even say anything. He's also offended at being talked about like he's not there. And Chuck says he's still holding a huge grudge against him for trying to kill his nephew. Didn't Sonic tell him that he regretted it and changed his mind and saved him? Considering no robots do that, and trying to kill Sonic is just expected of robots, he should really be acting like a better person here. Shard reminds him that it was Sonic who taught him what it means to be truly alive, and he sort of owes him since it was his core data that let him build those Metal Sonic Troopers. Why would he say that when the Troopers end up causing nothing but trouble? That was dumb of him. You'd think the first and only thing he'd hear about them would be bad things. Also, I like that he said sorta, showing how awkward he's about this, as well as how natural his speech is. Chuck looks resentful, and Shard asks if that was supposed to be a secret. Chuck says bitterly that he should have installed his head last. The Owl Man tells Chuck that as for treason, he remembers that he didn't even hesitate when he asked for his assistance. And Chuck says that old habits die hard, and reminisces about his old spy network with the very same owl guy. And he sees Ixis as just as big of a threat as Eggman was back then. Chuck then expresses cowardice again because if he gets caught, he'll lose his seat, while Nicole will face being murdered, and that's before Ixis comes after them. Well, those are pretty big risks to be angry about, but Chuck wasn't that concerned when he was a robot spy. The Owl says that once Shard's complete, still talking as if he's just the robot not even here, they'll have a total of 2 on the roster, counting Silver. Then Nicole says while holding her hand to her hand that they just received an answer from Lupe, and she and the agents they randomly asked for out of nowhere have agreed to their requests. Seriously, those agents are in a completely different country. Why would they ask for those random nobodies out of the blue? They don't even have special powers. The Owl Guy orders to arrange transport for them immediately, and says he wants them here yesterday. Again, what's with that weird idiom? Shouldn't he say he wanted them here? The Owl Guy says their team lacks unpredictability in some ways. And then Larry Lynx falls in. Nicole and Chuck are horrified being spotted, with Nicole apologizing that she forgot to seal the entrance. Larry, who has a completely different, unrecognizable design that at least looks good this time around, and is probably the reason why Nicole strangely forgot to seal the entrance due to his bad luck power, apologizes that he sits on one rotten stump and falls down, and when he wonders what's going on. The Owl Guy knows, to his surprise, that he's the former leader of the substitute Legion, as he was made in Sonic Live, proving that its backup stories are indeed canon. Why the hell didn't he just say Substitute Freedom Fighters instead of Legion? Legion sounds like he's with the Dark Legion. Anyways, he says he could make use of his unique bad luck ability, which Larry is surprised by since most people wouldn't trust him to help. Is he in complete control of who the bad luck is directed at? Can he not have the bad luck affect his friends? I hope so, because realistically, he would have just gotten them all killed. This issue is by Ian Flynn. In the first story, Lupe and the Cat Queen get rescued, with Drago being beaten up by a wolf girl after he's distracted by learning that Lupe will just replace him as Grand Master. Then Tails put a tracker on the Death Egg, and fortunately that doesn't get noticed, but he misses out on a chance to save Sally because there's not enough time. Not like he'd be able to beat her anyways with her robot form, so there's no reason to get that disappointed. It felt kind of pointless. Did we really need a second story arc about Lupe, the Cat Queen, and the Dark Legion causing trouble with them? It makes the 2 story arcs blend in together. At least it better establishes that Lupe and the Queen respect each other. But we visited the Cat Country a 3rd time now, and haven't learned anything new and interesting about it. It doesn't feel like it's being fleshed out. I'm more interested in the second story, where Shard the Metal Sonic shows up finally, and him and Larry Lynx are being recruited to the Secret Freedom Fighters. I hate how Uncle Chuck acts so unlikable in this story. He's such a coward, bitterly complaining about how much trouble he's risking getting himself into, which he never did before, even after they make a reference to him being a robot spy helping the heroes, when he wasn't acting like this at all. Worst of all, Chuck and even the reasonable Owl Guy are just talking about Shard like he's not there and calling him just a robot, which is extremely rude, especially since Shard clearly talks like Sonic does, proving that he has a personality. He talks less like a robot than Omega, and Omega gets way more respect. It feels very out of character to have Chuck be like this and treat Shard like total dirt, being racist against Robians like this, right in front of Nicole, when he should have more respect for him, especially for being the only Metal Sonic who felt regret and protected Sonic and Tails. He should be used to robots trying to kill Sonic. I'd be all the more happy when one changes his mind like that.